How many of you have ever watched Barney and Friends? Demi Lovato was actually cast onto Barney and Friends from 2002 to 2004. Now, as an avid Barney watcher myself back in the day, I grew up watching Miss Lovato. I watched her from Barney and Friends to her Disney Channel years and continued to listen to her music throughout my teen and adult years. With recent news of Demi's overdose, she has been in the spotlight quite a bit. However, through Demi's interviews and her music, her transparency has shown us the importance of remaining strong during hard times. In the next few minutes, I would just like to discuss specifically her documentary, her realization of the importance of being alone, and her music. Firstly, I would like to talk about Demi's documentary called Simply Complicated. If you haven't watched it, I would strongly suggest it. It's really raw and great to watch. Basically, it's just interviews of her, her friends, her family, and people who work really close by her. In the beginning, Demi and her family discuss how hard growing up. Demi talks a little bit about her dad. Her dad was an alcoholic and an addict, and she says she started using drugs because she hoped to find the fulfillment her dad found when he chose drugs and alcohol over his family. She talks about how she was bullied in school and how she was under a lot of pressure from a very young age. She talks about how her addiction started, what she did to hide it, and she explicitly goes into details about how she hurt everybody around her. The main thing I want to touch on with this documentary is that she takes responsibility for her actions. Anybody who knows an addict knows how they place the blame on everybody else and they don't like coming to terms with what they've done and they just blame everybody else. Demi doesn't blame anybody. She takes full responsibility. She places all the blame on herself throughout the entire thing. Secondly, I want to discuss how Demi realized the importance of being alone. She opens up about her split with Wilmer and how she realized she needed to work on herself and she couldn't do that next to him. For anybody who doesn't know, Demi and Wilmer were together for about 6 years. She says that to find herself and to overcome her problems, she needed to do it by herself and not drag anybody else down. So many girls, well, everybody, they're obsessed with having somebody next to them. But when you're going through tough times like that, sometimes you just need to get out and be by yourself because, in the end, Demi says the only person who can pick you up is yourself. If you want to get better, your well being is in your hands. Lastly, I would like to discuss her music. Demi is criticized for having music that is too heavy sometimes. She does have some upbeat stuff, and that's what society nowadays wants. They want light, upbeat music that doesn't have a lot of meaning. However, if you actually go in and listen to Demi's music, it all has a lot of meaning and a lot of emotions in it. She says that music is her outlet to tell her friends, her fans, her family how she's really feeling and how she's really doing, and she's not afraid to just lay it all out there. I would like to touch on her latest song. It's called Sober. If you haven't listened to it, again, I would suggest it. It's really raw. Um, it's just a ballad where she apologizes to everybody in her life and specifically her parents and her fans about her relapse after her 6 years of sobriety. She goes in to apologize and say that she tried to be better. She wants to be a role model, but in the end, she's only human and she can't be perfect. For Demi to perform a song that makes her so vulnerable as that one is really inspirational. In conclusion, through Demi's interviews and music, her transparency has shown us the importance to remain strong during hard times. To review, I have covered her documentary, Simply Complicated, her discovery of the importance of being alone, and her music. To conclude this speech, I would like to leave you guys with a quote from Demi Lovato in 2016. She says, "I stand here today as proof that you can live a normal and empowered life with mental illness."